So we're at the Padel Club in Manchester today, but originally your heritage isn't British. Talk to me a little bit about Manx in Mumbai.
Wow, so that was one of the best experiences of my life. For me and my two brothers and my dad to go all the way to India and discover the fact that we've got literally a massive Indian family was crazy, because we always knew that we were mixed race, right? And our dad wasn't always in our life, and we never really knew too much about our heritage. But obviously when my dad came back into our life, he told us that our granddad was like fully Indian, and was like, wow, like, but
That's wild.
it's mad. And my dad was like a soul singer, had an afro. We were always a bit confused. ITV basically approached us about doing a show, and we came up with the concept of doing something in India, going back, tracing our roots. And it got commissioned for ITV1, which was crazy.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge at the time.
I remember it.
And,
I watched it with my mum.
Yeah, and we literally went back over there. We thought, you know what, it's just going to be a TV show. We might find a long distant cousin, whatever else. But no, we found like direct family, my dad's cousins. We went to his granddad's house. We sat outside it. We were in the slums. We've got a WhatsApp group now with all the Indian family. It was just incredible. But the most incredible part was being able to spend that trip with our dad, because we knew it was probably going to be my dad's last trip. He was getting a bit older. If I'm honest, if I'm completely honest, he didn't really want to be here anymore. My dad, he was just kind of done with life.
Was that hard?
Yeah, it was hard. He was like, I'm done now, son. I've had a great life. And I was like, what about us? Do you know what I mean? Because, and all the grandkids that he had. But for me, my dad was one of those free spirits. He liked to be on the move all the time, and he was like to be out riding his horses. And he was only 71, but he was a bit of an old 71. He couldn't really get about as much. And he was just happy to go, really. So we knew that was going to be his last trip, and it was just hilarious and a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Send him off with a bang.
Exactly that.
How have you dealt with that grief? Because I can't imagine that was an easy task to undertake.
It was really difficult. I ended up finding my dad. My dad was living with me at the time. He lived with me for 6 months. Best 6 months I've ever had, because we got so close. And I was at work one day, and my cleaner basically found him on the sofa. And then I ended up coming back, but luckily my twin brother Adam was there before me. And then our Ryan was here as well, which is mad because he's never here. So there's all three of us there together, and we found him, and it was just, you know what, it was horrible, like really horrible. But I was kind of at peace with it, because I kind of knew that he was at peace with it, and that's what he wanted. But for me, for anyone who's lost a relative or a mum or a dad, I always just say that they live on through us, like they really do. We get all of our charisma and that show business element of our lives from our dad, because he was just the ultimate showman. So he lives on through us now, and I know he'll be very proud of us. And yeah,
Too damn right.
Yeah.
Sobriety. It's huge. Is that your coping mechanism, living through for him?
I wouldn't say that, because my dad he was a big drinker himself in his day, but he always said to me, Scott, drinking, it's no good for you. Don't suit your son. Don't suit your son. But I'm buzzing because I went sober when he was living with me for the six months, and I got in great shape. And my dad used to always call me the body. Do you know when I finally got in great shape, I would never have my top on. I was just always walking around the house like this.
Is this our cue to take our tops off?
Well, not in a minute. I'm not in peak condition. But he used to always
had a kebab last night, right?
Yeah, he used to call me the body. So my dad actually got to see me at my best night, and I turned around to my dad one day. I was like, Dad, are you proud of me? And my dad could never say it. He could never say it. It was weird. And he just went, I think you take too much on, son. Because I was always like running around the house, like on calls and this and that. And to be fair, there's a lot of things that I took from my dad. But the one thing that I take from my dad is the quote, life's a game. He used to say to me, life's a game, son. And I went, you know what? I didn't really get it at the time, but now I get it. There's just different levels to life, and you've just got to kind of treat it like a game and not get too emotional, especially when it comes to business and stuff, which is easier said than done. But yeah, my dad's lived life to the fullest, so he lives on through us for sure.
You've got a podcast, and in your podcast, you talk about different coping mechanisms in business. But as we're on the topic of grief, how did you, as a unit, as a family, cope with that loss?
I think we were just there for each other. Me and my brothers are so close. I think it's just about surrounding yourself with the people that you care about the most, and just talking as well. I think us as Thomas brothers, we're all really good at talking, and I think that's the key. And I think that's how and why I set up my podcast, because vulnerability is also a superpower. Yeah. Not only are you helping yourself and unloading, you're also helping other people as well.
You really do have quite the clan. You're a twin.
Yes.
Is there a competitive rivalry amongst the three of you?
I feel like me and my brothers are all so different. When we stood next to each other, we call ourselves the in-betweeners, because I'm so tall, Ryan's pretty short. He's not even that short, it's just I'm so tall. And then Adam's like the medium one. But we're all so different. We dress differently. We've got different lives. So I don't say we're very supportive of each other when it comes to paddle though, because Ryan's been playing a lot of paddle.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that surely has got to be quite...
Yeah, that's a competition.
Who's better?
I would say me. I've got a few more games in than Ryan, but he'll say otherwise. But I know I've got the edge. And Adam's not played yet, because obviously Adam's got so much going on at the minute. He's obviously doing Strictly Come Dancing, and he's also struggling. He's got a little bit of arthritis at the minute, which isn't great at all. But so he's not managed to get some games in. But I would say I'm the most competitive against Ryan more so. We used to call Adam the fencer. Adam kind of sits in the middle. But me and Ryan, yeah, we're always quite competitive, but in a good way. We support each other as well. Friendly
competition is good, right? You've got to have it, and it pushes you to be better.
Oh, 100%. Sure. I think with me and the boys, like obviously all the paddle lot, we're all we're all talking about rankings all the time. Who's the best in this and everything else.
See, that's where I've messed up, because there's all this sort of platonic rankings and that. I put myself as like beginner, and now my ranking is like rock bottom.
Yeah.
So I'd never get a game against someone like you, would I?
Well, I'm only I'm a 2.01, which isn't like really high, but I did the same. I started off dead low, but then I've worked my way up, where some people go in and they put themselves as a 3.5, and then
they get squashed.
Yeah. They get exposed.
Annihilated.
So I think you got to give yourself a fair ranking.
You're also an uncle, so both brothers have kids.
Yep.
In that sense, do you feel like there's an element of they've moved forward and they've already done that part of life, or do you enjoy?
Well, I turned 35 this year, about a month ago, and now Adam is obviously my twin, and he's been with his wife for like 11 years.
Wow.
He's got 2 kids, and they're like the perfect cereal box family. You could say there is pressure on me to kind of be settled down and meet someone, but I just don't think that you can kind of compare yourself to other people.
No.
And I really don't, and I don't think like there's a timeline on anything anymore. I think it's kind of a little bit old school to think, oh, you've got to be married by this time and this and that. The world's changing now, and I'm so comfortable with the life that I'm living because I'm just content with myself and I'm not in a race. And I think, of course, I'd like the idea of having kids at some point, but first I need to fall in love, and I think that's step one, and then obviously everything else will follow. But yeah, I don't really feel the pressure.
Kind of cool being an uncle though.
Being an uncle is the best job in the world. You get to love all the different personalities, but then you also get to give them back as well.
Leave that there at home.
It's a tough job, parenting. Like, I've been on holiday with Adam Cavalier before, and they don't sit still. They're just like constantly running around. So yeah, I don't envy them in that sense, but I reckon I'll have my turn one day.
Scott, we are on the Monday Mile podcast, so that does mean we do have to ask you about your relationship with Monday, the start of the week.
Okay.
Do you like a Monday?
Oh, do you know what? This is a question I always ask myself. A lot of the times, I do dread Mondays a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that, based on the sort of prowess in the routine you've got going on.
But the thing is, though, I am juggling a lot.
Yeah, spinning plates. I see that.
And I've got a business coach, and I ask him all the time, I don't look forward to Mondays. He says, I look forward to Mondays. I love it. I've got friends who like it. It seems like a lot when it comes back around. But I think, again, it comes down to time management and organisation. Like when I do my Sunday night to-do list, when I've kind of pre-planned a little bit, my Mondays feel a lot smoother and slicker. But I think sometimes if I'm not organised, my worst trait is my time management. Not that I'm not always working and everything else, but sometimes I can be a bit of a busy fool.
Yeah.
Whereas what I'm really working on now is just organisation, structure, and also just being a little bit kinder to myself. Like I think Mondays come round, I think I move mountains, I need to take over the world. When that's all fact, I go, Monday's just another day to start working on your goals and moving the needle a little bit further. Where sometimes I put a lot of pressure on Mondays being this big day where I need to take over the world, where in actual fact, it's just another day.
It's just another day.
Yeah, and I think it's just a mindset shift, and I think sometimes I put too much pressure on myself.
Talk to me about that cramming in, because I felt that. I can feel it in your voice, and I can really connect and relate to that, because I'm a hound for that sometimes. It's like, I'm going to do this at 6 till 7, and at 7:30, I'll be doing something else, and I can ram that in there, and then I'm going to do my boxing as well, and it's like, ugh! But then you catch yourself in a situation where you're not actually enjoying each moment because you're focusing on getting to the next.
Everything's a means to an end. I live my life a means to an end, and I've noticed it so much. I'm doing some amazing stuff. I did a track day the other day with Aston Martin and Peroni, and it's like one of my dream jobs, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember not being fully present. And I think that's the story of my life. I'm not always fully present. And if I'm not careful, life's just going to pass me by. And I think you take on so much stuff because, yes, it's all exciting, but if you're not there to fully enjoy it, like mentally, then that's the problem. So
then you're almost better off not doing it. I've caught myself in that situation where I like want to get a surf in, or actually there's a driving day I might be doing soon, and I want to do it, but I don't want to go and be worried by the fact that I've got to leave early to get to the next thing. So I think time management and carving out time for the things you love is so important.
100%. I'm a little bit of a yes man sometimes, like, because I want to make the most of every opportunity that comes my way. And
I'm connecting with you, Scott. I feel you.
It's the power of saying no, right? Which is difficult. And I think the most successful people in life, especially entrepreneurs, they are so smart and clever with their time, and they won't waste their time on things that either don't make them happy or are not kind of going to move the needle on what they're really focused on. And I think sometimes it's about working smart, not working hard. And that's the bit where I'm trying to kind of master. And hopefully if I do master that, I look forward to my Mondays a little bit more, and I can be a lot more present in what I'm doing.
Some serious delegation needs to go down.
Yeah.
We'll check in in a year's time and see how that's gone.
Yeah.
I reckon that 1 hour paddle is going to be 2 in the mornings.